Hello and welcome to Pitch Football. This is another pre-season preview video. Today I'm with Ant from the Roper Report, which is a Sunderland podcast. Ant, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I think like everybody else, mate, very hot football. I'm good.
Yeah, we had to turn all the fans off, so we're dying a little bit on this one, haven't we?
Yeah, I'll tell you what's a good job. It's not smell-o-vision because I absolutely reek.
Well, jumping straight in. Obviously, you've had a long time in League One, similar to what my club, Sheffield United, did. Spent far too long in there, and I don't want to be arrogant and say for the stature of the club and all that, but for the following we get, for the actual size of the club, it does seem criminal sometimes that you spend so long at that level. How good does it feel to finally be up at the level?
Oh, absolutely amazing. I mean, it's going to be great to actually have teams come to the stadium with light and play football, because we had 4 years of just, teams come and think it was their cup final, putting 10 behind the ball and never really got to play that much, So, the refereeing standards are dreadful. We had, tin pot players coming up, scoring a goal at our south stand, which is our busiest stand, and doing the Chivas celebration and all that, all that palaver, really. It's just good to be back. We spent far too long down there. I actually, the first season, I thought, I took a few grounds off the list and all that. The novelty wears off after about 30 minutes, doesn't it? It's just, it's awful. But glad to be out of it. I think we're probably better prepared to have come out of it last season than what we were maybe a couple of years ago under Phil Parkinson, that's for sure. Yeah. So I think it's probably the time, and even though it's been quite long, it's probably worked out well.
I mean, obviously, the standard of refereeing, I'll be honest with you, it don't get much better at championship level. But I would say Alex Neil's there now. You mentioned Phil Parkinson. Must seem a world away. How happy are you with Alex Neil?
Yeah, he quite divided the opinion when Lee Johnson got the sack. I mean, listen, I've met Lee Johnson a couple of times, and what a lovely bloke, but he didn't have a plan B. We played some nice football underneath, but we were very soft. Away from home, you knew we were going to roll over. And then Alex Neil came in, a couple of tweaks. He sorted the defence out quite quickly. There we go, quite early on in his tenure, got that sorted out. And then from then on, once we started, stop conceding silly goals, it just came. The likes of Patrick Roberts and Jack Clark, who were bought in January, really came into their own. Ross Stewart, just amazing up front, scored, set up, it just all clicked. And then obviously we got Nathan Broadhead back from injury, who just went on a run of, he just didn't look as if he was going to stop scoring, and we started scoring like last minute goals. And it reminded us a lot of the Roy Keane season when we got promoted to the Premier League, that you just knew we were gonna find a way, and once we got past Wed, I was quite confident going into Wembley. First time I've ever been confident about Sunderland at Wembley, and it proved to be the case. He's a very good. I think he's a very astute manager. Actually, he does the simple things well, and also he speaks his mind. He speaks as you find, really. Like what Warnock was like, and like Roy Keane, and that's, I think, what Sunderland like. Instead of all this football drivel, which, to be fair, Johnson did talk a lot like David Brent off The Office. Yeah. Whereas Alex Neil's very, very, down to earth, and he says it as it is. And I think that with clubs like this, it's massive.
I think what Alex Neil did was put a lot of fight back into the club. I mean, you've had playoff campaigns before in League One with other managers, didn't quite get a plan. Other seasons where it kind of fell apart towards the end. I mean, you survived. Thanks to Alex Neil, you survived 10 million people doing that at Hillsborough, according to Andy Hinchcliffe. And he seems to have put that fight back in the club, doesn't he? Is that something you've been missing?
Definitely, yeah. And I think what he did was he kind of got like this impression that, this club shouldn't be where this is. Whereas Phil Parkinson, for instance, so we played Gillingham away a couple of years ago now, when we got beat 1-0. And he said we were 5 minutes away from a great result, away from home to Gillingham. I mean, sorry, but this is Sunderland Football Club. I don't want to be that. And we spoke about arrogance, haven't we, there, off the record there. And I didn't want to be arrogant in League One. But then you've just got to look at, hang on a minute, Gillingham away isn't a massive result if we get a 0-0 draw, And what Alex Neil did, I think, straight away, right, this club needs to be out of here as soon as possible. And he did it within, 17, 18 games. I think he's had it, and he's lost one. So we just hit the ground running, got our defensive unit sorted out, Bailey Wright underneath Neil was unbelievable. We had a young goalkeeper, Anthony Patterson, who's come on leaps and bounds. He looked really dodgy, to be honest, when he first came in, but Neil just, trusted him, and he did reap the benefits. Brought, like I say, brought the young lads in, gave Patrick Roberts a new lease of life. We all know how good Patrick Roberts can be. We've all seen it. Jack Clark, who's come as a permanent signing, looked really good. So I think he's just kind of like did things that the other managers didn't do, as in he knew that this club needed to be over there, whereas the other ones, I think, give League One a little bit too much respect.
You mentioned Jack Clark there, permanent signing. Looking at Sunderland themselves, how big is that signing for you?
I think it's big, yeah. I think it's huge, to be honest. I mean, you look at Patrick Roberts as well. He's been all over the place, hasn't he? He looked a really good player at Celtic, and obviously he's just fallen off a cliff form-wise, but he's come to Sunderland. He's had an arm around him. Jack Clark is, a Premier League player. He went for a lot of money to Spurs. He came to Sunderland and, he didn't really start that well, but he really did, kick on towards the end of the season. And he got dropped for the playoff final game, which I thought was a bit harsh on him, but, he came on, he did what he had to do when he came on. But we've also made sure that we've re-signed Patrick Roberts. Like I say, Lyndon Gooch to sign a new contract. We've kept that core of last season, the team that got promoted there. And a couple of more additions, I think, we should be really happy. We've obviously brought in a couple of defenders. Ballard looks a top player, and we've just signed a guy from West Ham who I've only seen like videos of him on YouTube and all that. I know you shouldn't go to YouTube for your evidence of football. He does look a good player, and the West Ham forum who I was talking to, they were really, really disappointed to see him go. So that should kind of seem good, I think.
That's the people you've got incoming. Who's looking like they're going to be leaving the club?
I don't think there'll be anybody of the first team who'll go, unless we get a big money bid for Dan Neil, possibly. But I think Burnley were after him in January, but that seems to have gone off the boil. So I'd be worried if he left. Obviously, Ross Stewart's in his last year of his contract, so we had the Rangers kind of rumour, but it would be imperative to get him onto a new contract. But all that, I don't think there's any of that first team who would go. Maybe you're looking at Carl Winchester, and I'm not sure where he fits in now. With us signing, a couple of centre halves, with us, bringing Patrick Roberts back, bringing Jack Clark back. Trey Hume, who came in January, has been playing regularly in pre-season, so I'm not sure where he fits in. So he might go. There's a couple of young lads who I think will go out on loan. Jack Diamond, for instance, who has got a little bit of talent. There's something there in him. But it'd be nice to see him go to a League One club or something like that. So, I don't think it'd be more like a huge kind of influx of players leaving.
So, looking at the squad you've got now and the incomings you've had, how do you see the season, like early pre-season? I know it's hard to judge, but how do you see the season ahead going for Sunderland?
I would take anything for a boring season. We've never had a boring season in the past 15, 20 years, to be honest. Give me 12th, I'll be over the moon. I think we can push on. I really don't think we'll get involved in all that relegation stuff. I don't think we will. I think we're the best equipped of the teams that have got promoted, which sounds wrong considering we came through the playoffs. But I think if you look at our squad compared to Wigan and Rotherham, I think you're probably going to say we're the better equipped on paper to stay up. There's some sides that are in Championship I don't think I'm that worried about. I don't want to mention too many names in case they come and hammer us, but it'll come out the first few games. We'll probably decide where we are. We've got Coventry at home, first game of the season on the telly. So that's going to be huge because obviously there's a little bit of a rivalry. I think it stems from fans we're not all that bothered, but that'll be a great first game. So yeah, I'm quite confident. I think I like I say, I don't think we'll go down. And you look at last year, and this is the point I keep on making, that you look at the 4 teams in the playoffs last year, and it's not just in them sides, but you would have got good money for them 4 to have been particularly at the start of the season. Like Huddersfield, Nottingham Forest, who went up, and they had a really bad start, didn't they? And then Luton and Sheffield United have also changed managers, so it's there. There's capabilities for it, and then obviously you've got a 48,000 seater stadium. You've got Kilroy Jeffers has extended his stake in the club, so there's a little bit of money there should they need it. So yeah, we've got the right manager, so I think we'll be all right.
I think the league's a bit stronger this year than it was last year. Last year was such a weak division. It was really weak. So, are there any gaps in that squad when you look at it that would prevent that quiet, boring season that you're craving, that you'd be happy to be filled in?
Yeah, we're desperate for a striker. Like Rod Stewart played pretty much every game last year. Absolutely, an absolute beanpole of a striker. He's just a complete forward. He scores goals, he sets them up, he tracks. He's an absolute nightmare for defenders. He's such a good player, such a talented player. But that's it. We haven't got another striker. Nathan Broadhead came in last year. He's more of a wide man, but he did well. I'd love to get him back, but we're absolutely desperate for another striker just in case, Stewart does go down with an injury. And you see what happens in these leagues. You're playing, Saturday, Tuesday most times. So he's an international now, so he's more likely going to get called away. So, we need someone in there. I would say we probably do need another goalkeeper as well to give Patterson a little bit of experience, I think. I'd love to sign someone like John Ruddy, like an experienced hand to give Patterson a little bit of a little bit of pat on the back and, a little bit of competition for him. Because at the minute, we've only got like the kid who's sub goalkeeper at the minute. So we're probably a little, they're the two. We've sorted the defence out and I'm quite happy with our midfield anyway. So a striker and a goalkeeper, please, Alex.
So 2 questions now to end the video on. You've said where you'd like to finish, which is around that 10 for 12. If I were to put you on the spot now, and if your bold prediction for the video, where do you think Sunderland's going to finish if you just had to pick a spot out of thin air now?
I'll go with 9th.
9th. And second shout, which away game are you looking forward to most?
It's got to be Borough, hasn't it? Bit of a local derby, but yeah, probably Borough. I don't think there's any grounds that a lot of fans would probably need to tick off. So yeah, Borough. But obviously, yeah, Sheffield United, great club, good stadium, old-fashioned stadium, Bramall Lane. But I'll probably be going down to watch some of the ladies play there because obviously the ladies are playing at Bramall Lane as well. So might go twice. That'd be good. But yeah, it's just good to be back in the Championship. So any ground I end up going, I'll be over the moon because we're not going to a Tin Pot League One club who are going to put 10 behind the ball and try and mimic Sunderland. To be honest,
that's the problem in it when you're a club that tries to play football at that level. It just stops there. The book stops because they think, they play football. Let's just put 10 behind the ball and crunch them, and it gets boring very quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's, like I said, we're teams cup finals. You look at Derby, will be exactly the same. Sure, Derby will go there. That'll be everyone's cup final, and they'll find it difficult. I know that they've signed some really good players. Don't get us wrong, but we tried that as well, where we thought we were signing players from a little bit higher up who were journeymen at other clubs. So it doesn't. You've got to get the right balance, I think.
Yeah.
So, but best of luck to them. I hope they come back up. To be honest, they've been through the mill, haven't they? So fingers crossed they come back.
And I'm going to say it's good to have you back in the division. We've needed another club like yourself here. And as long as you don't do double over us, I'll say good luck for the season. It's been brilliant.
We'll take 2 draws, won't we? Yeah. The positive is when you wish every team all the best, you kind of think, crap, we're not going to win any games like this. So
just going to draw every game all season.
Win every other game bar us, that'll do.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff. And it's been great having you on. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Enjoyed it. Thank you.